Blitz!
I'm Travis Downey, this is Adam Rosenberg, and this is this week's edition of the Northwest Florida Daily News' Prep Football Blitz. Get you guys set up for this week's action. Actually get started a little bit early this week. Thursday night, Choctawhatchee on the road at Rutherford. The beginning of district play for Choctaw. Rose, when you look at this game, what kind of sticks out and who do you like?
Well, Choctaw's had a pretty rough early schedule. They've had to play Catholic, they've had to play Niceville, and they've paid the price with their record. I think they're going to go on the road. It's kind of a game that I could see going either way.
Yeah.
But I think Choctaw's kind of, all that positive momentum they've had going into the year, it's going to break through after those tough early games. They're going to go on the road and get a win.
Yeah, I like Choctaw too. They're going to be without 5 starters, 2 of which are on that offensive line. And normally when you have that type of losses in your roster, it's a recipe for disaster. I like Choctaw though. I think they can go on the road, take care of business, start district play on the right foot, much like they did last year. They dropped the first 2 last year, same 2 teams, and managed to go on a nice run through district. So I'm going to go with Choctaw as well. And that brings us to Friday night's schedule. We'll begin with Rocky Bayou on the road at Jefferson County. I'm going to go with Jefferson County. I just think district play, Rocky Bayou is going to start off 0-1. Who do you like in this one?
I'm going to go with Jefferson County as well. Just looking back through Jefferson County's early games, they put up a lot of points. I don't know if Rocky can match that. They're more of a kind of try to keep the score low, grind it out kind of team. I don't know if they can keep up with Jefferson County's offensive output.
Yeah. District 1A play, Freeport, coming off of a big win over Jay. They're going to be on the road at Sneads. Who do you like in this one?
Definitely Freeport. Last week I know Jay is a team that's kind of been struggling. That it's a down year for them, but Freeport's best player, Nick Ellington, barely contributed, and that was just by design. They didn't need him.
Right.
Paul Holmes was great running the ball. Dakota Davis, a sophomore quarterback, looked pretty accurate throwing the ball. He had a few drops, but I think Freeport's going to win this one, and I think they'll win it somewhat easily.
I think so too. Sneads just hasn't looked very good this season so far, and Freeport, like you mentioned, Ellington didn't break a sweat last week, so he's ready to go. So I'm going to pick Freeport as well. Mariana going to be visiting Walton. Walton, of course, we know about their offense. How do you like this matchup?
Well, I think that you just said it right there. They have too many skill players. Liam Miller, Corliss Stone.
Yeah.
They're just too dynamic on offense. They're gonna start off their district play as well with a win.
Yeah, I like Walton to get the win as well, especially being at home. I still see Mariana putting up much of a fight in that one. Crestview on the road at Pensacola Catholic. Interesting matchup. Who do you like?
Pensacola Catholic, and it's not necessarily anything against Crestview, but Catholic has just looked outstanding so far this year. Yeah. Crestview kind of had their first test of the year last week, and then they didn't play their best, and they'd probably be the first to admit that. But they got to go on the road again, another outstanding, talented team. Just too many weapons on that Catholic offense.
Yeah, I like Catholic as well. And you look at that game last week with Crestview, too little, too late. A great comeback, but it was just too late. Garrett Teal was really good. I'm going to go with Catholic, though, to get that win as well. Then for Walton Beach, they're struggling this season. They're 0-2. They're going to be hosting Clover out of South Carolina. We don't know a whole lot about Clover, but who do you like? Who are you going with this?
Well, another thing, like you said, we don't really have a way to know much about Clover, but just looking online, they've scored a lot of points.
Yeah.
And regardless of they're a 4A team in South Carolina, regardless of the talent level, that's more than in the offense that Fort Walton Beach has showed. Right. They've got to get their offense going. They have question marks at quarterback. Who's going to take the most of the snaps? I think I'm going to pick Clover just based on the fact that they look like they can score a lot of points, and Fort Walton Beach is in a state of disarray right now.
Kind of by default. Yeah, I'm going to go with Clover as well. It's hard to see, or hard to really fathom Fort Walton Beach, the idea of Fort Walton Beach starting a season 0-3. But Clover, like you said, they've put up a lot of points. They're 5-0, and they're running right at people. They had a lot of question marks entering the season on offense. Lone returning starter was their quarterback, Aaron Miller, and all he's done is just run for touchdown after touchdown. 4 touchdowns a week ago. I'm going to go with Clover also to come down, 10-hour bus ride and get the win. So picking Clover in that one. Navarre, they're on the road at Pine Forest. Should be a really good game. Who do you like in this one?
I'm going to go with Pine Forest. They came so close to knocking off Niceville last week. They got that taste of almost kind of an upset victory. And Navarre, they played over their heads early, I think, a little bit. They're still a great football team, and I think it'll be one of those really close fourth quarter coming down to the last-minute games. Pine Forest is the home team. Kind of got to give them the win just based on that little home team bump.
That's really. I mean, I'm leaning towards Pine Forest as well because of that home field advantage and because of the fact they have so much speed. You know, I know Navarre played really well defensively against Fort Walton Beach. Pine Forest has more speed than Fort Walton Beach. I think they'll be able to break that 1, 2, 3 big plays that'll spell the difference. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Navarre has come, a long way since a year ago. But I'm going to go with Pine Forest with Purifoy, their quarterback Lee, who really torched Niceville. I like Pine Forest in that one as well. And then speaking of Niceville, they're going to be hosting Godby. How do you like that one?
No reason to start picking against Niceville now. I mean, they seem to be firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
That running game with Pratt and Pullen, it's kind of that, spread out the carries so no one gets too tired, keep the fresh legs in there. The defense has been strong, playing at home. We got to go with Niceville.
Speaking of the offense, the passing game showed some flashes of life. Brandon Burke had a big game for them, a few catches, 56-yard that really tilted the field back in Niceville's advantage. It was still a close game. I like Niceville as well. I like Niceville because of the way that defense is playing. You hold Purifoy from Pine Forest to 27 yards, and you force 3 turnovers. That's a good recipe right there. I'm going to pick Niceville to get the win as well. And that brings us to our game of the week. We go down to District 1A, Baker visiting South Walton, 2 bitter rivals. How do you like this one?
Well, this is one that I kind of went back and forth on. And again, I'm a big believer in the home team. We went with South Walton. Close game last year, 14-10 South Walton win. I just got to believe that if the teams are that evenly matched, Baker, they've played some close games this year. South Walton, likewise, pretty much. I'm going to go with South Walton to win at home.
Speaking with David Barron, the South Walton coach, earlier this week, and he brought to my attention the fact that in his 5 years at South Walton, hasn't lost a homecoming game yet. So that's pretty impressive. I think it's going to happen this week. I'm going to go with Baker. I just think, South Walton's a banged-up bunch right now. I know it's at home. I know there's that pride factor when you play at home, you play at homecoming. But with Veda Moore, Christian Maynor, Logan Wagner, I really like the way Baker's offense has evolved. More than one-trick pony now. And last year's game was really close. I think Baker makes the plays in the end and gets the win.
Well, that's it for this week's Blitz. Hopefully, we're keep improving on our picks. I've had a couple of rough weeks
Can't
anyway.
get much worse.
So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week.